Nottingham has been painted blue. Anthony Knockout has scored the goal. It's the goal of Alain Bleu.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
The Leicester Till I Die shop is now open.
For all your Leicester Till I Die merchandise,
Visit the Leicester Till I Die shop at our website.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Happened in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reached the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City.
tune in.
And join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
Oh, right there. Having so much fun with these things here. I don't know if you can see me. Can you? Anybody see me at all? I appear to be black. Apparently, I'm having a thumbs up. I can be. It's just on my screen. I can't be seen. Apparently, can you see me, Jay? Yes. I've got a black screen, which basically makes me look a hell of a lot better. I'm just purely in the dark, which is basically sums my life up. But it is Leicester Till I Die TV. We're not really back as such, but we kind of got on the first step ladder. You can find us on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. Please subscribe. And if you're listening to this on Catch Up on Spotify, Google... Oh, there I am. I've suddenly popped up on my own camera. My God, I was better looking in the dark, wasn't I? You can catch us on all the major podcast platforms, including Amazon, Apple Podcast Addict, and Spotify. Here's where you can find.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favorite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
I'll tell you something. Whatever you say about West Ham fans, there's no way they can dance.
It's the Premier League preview show with Chris and Craig on Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Strap yourself in.
Because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Now, we are having a few problems trying to, because Craig can't make it this evening. He's got family matters to attend to. And so we've got Brad stepping in for him, but we're having problems getting hold of Brad. I don't know whether his camera's down or what. Hang on, I think, no, Brad's upstairs. He said he was having problems with his upstairs video.
Oh, I'm there! I'm there! I'm there! I'm there! Oh, that's the last time I ride this bike up here.
He is here, and it is the West Ham Okay, and we seem to be absolutely filling the room at the moment with West Ham fans. So, good evening to. Well, we've got Mini Me in the chat in a minute. So this is obviously Maxi Me. Hello, Richard. How the devil are you? West Ham reunited. Yeah, come on, you Irons. All right. Chris is only here for the West Ham. Here for the beer, I'd say that. Richard saying, yep, you can see you and West Ham reunited. Yeah, we're not even going to go there, I don't think, about a certain player. We might do. Anyway, let's bring my first guest in. I think he's wiped himself down. He's got his put his tissues away, and he's back with us. Brad, good evening. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I am here. Yeah. I told you that bike doesn't like going up the stairs, don't I, Chris? I told you that before.
It does. It does. And I am sorry that you are having problems upstairs. I must admit, at my age, all my problems are downstairs, but we won't go there either. I don't think.
No comment, Your Honour.
And thank you for stepping in for Craig.
Absolutely no bother, mate. That's not a problem.
I suppose we'd better get him in, hadn't we? Because I mean, his dad's giving him permission to stay up late tonight for the show, so it would be rude to keep him waiting sort of any longer, really. And I'm glad he's got his name underneath because, well, you don't know these days. You can't tell a West Ham from a Burnley from an Aston Villa fan, can you?
Oh, they all play dreadful football.
Well, this is very true. Good evening, Jake. Is it Aston Villa? Unofficial.
So I just woke up after that 6 years worth of intro. Oh my god!
Well, I was seeing to see how long we could sort of push your dad at letting you stay up.
Oh, I've just woke up, honestly. But one thing I've got to pick you up on about in the 18th century, when the start of that intro video started about 18 million years ago, it said something about Nottingham's blue. Well, it hasn't been in the last 2 weeks, has it?
No, it hasn't, but it was when that was recorded.
No, but for the last 8 years, mate, it's been irrelevant. So I'm happy with that. They can have the little FA Cup final. It's the closest they're going to get to one.
Exactly.
Don't call the FA Cup little. You won it last year.
I didn't say it was little. I said it was their FA Cup final. There's a difference, my young sir.
Yes, indeed. Honestly, he's having one good season, and he thinks he's Chelsea.
You say one good season, Chris. All West Ham have done is look at Leicester, and they've gone, we want to be the next bottom of the top four.
Yeah,
that's all you've done. You finally caught up to the plate. We're letting you have your little moment this season. There's still what 16, 17 games to go. We'll see how far you throw it away.
Yeah, we'll see how far we might go the other way. Let's be honest with you.
Yeah. It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
That's the worry.
We might still play Nottingham twice next season.
Yes, I don't think we'd beat them. I mean, all joking apart, I mean, we've got you on Sunday, Jake, and I was told that I had to put you. I've really got to be careful how I rephrase things, having a minor on here, haven't I? I was told to put you below us two so that your West Ham scarf stands out.
Yes, that there. It's not a scarf. It's a plaque.
Oh, is it a plaque? Oh, right. Is it? Well, I'm sure it says Burnley. Those colours, anyway. But
where is he?
All joking apart, Jake. I mean, we've had two really good seasons, and we'd got close to smashing the glass ceiling, as they say. And I'm really pleased. I mean, I've known nothing against West Ham, and it's great you're having a fantastic season. I mean, Brad alluded to it then, but you are kind of doing a Leicester. And I'm going to be honest with you, if Leicester can't do a Leicester, then I would want sort of, and I don't mean it nasty when I say smaller clubs, but one of the unrecognised big clubs, if you like, to go up there and just, smash into that top six, if you like. But how happy are you with your season?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. That's put that away, Chris.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Talk like that. Your dad's in. Don't talk like that. Hello, Mr. Cox.
Anyway, that
sounded unfortunate as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
But no, your season.
Yeah, that upstairs business, Brad.
He's fighting back, Brad. And that's why I got you in here to help me.
Oh, we like a laugh, Chris. We like a laugh. But yeah, our season it's been a roller coaster. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, as we always do. It's been interesting with a mix of happiness, beating Liverpool at home 3-2, beating Chelsea at home 3-2, beating you lot at home 4-1. That's definitely three. Definitely three of the highlights of the season for sure. But
so you say it's in a roller coaster. What have your downs been?
Well, we haven't signed any players. Zuma's gone kicking his cat.
Yes.
What else has there been?
If only you could kick a ball that well, eh?
I know. Centre back crisis. Bonner's out for the whole season, which is incredibly disappointing. Not that I don't want to see big Craig Dawson in there, but it is.
The new Bobby Moore, as I like to refer to him as.
Who?
The new Bobby Moore, Craig Dawson.
Big Craig Dawson. I love the guy. Love the guy. But yeah, our season so far, I think we'd all take at the start of the season when I spoke to you in August before we beat you 4-1.
Just carry on because what were you saying?
Here we go. He's gonna kick me out now.
No, not going to kick you out at all. What were you saying?
Just going to mute me, weren't you? Yeah.
Now you get kicked out. Now you get kicked out.
Can't fool the youth these days, Chris. They're the more switched on than you. I mean,
no, that's the trouble. Like I say, you're in here for a reason, Brad. I couldn't handle a 14-year-old on here. I'm going to stop talking like this, Brad. I'm going to come to you now. What do you...
I'm just a character witness, mate. Right? It won't hold up in court.
Brad, I mean, you've got to be really impressed with West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I've got quite a connection with West Ham with my granddad. He was a very, very big supporter of West Ham, and when they weren't playing Leicester, which wasn't very often after the 90s when we went down to the Championship, it wasn't too often, but I always like to see West Ham do well. You know, I never wanted to see West Ham in a relegation scrap. I wasn't one that wanted to see them go down, and they're a team I like to keep an eye on and do well when they're not against us. So yeah, I'm happy to see. If I could have picked, if you'd have said to me, hand pick a team that's going to do what Leicester have done over the last 2 seasons to be up there and do it, I would have hand picked West Ham myself because they're a team I enjoy watch. I mean, some of the greatest players played for them when I grew up, like Defoe, Lampard, and and Di Canio. I loved their team growing up. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't remember them, Jake. So, you know, borrowing your dad's shirt for this video is very gracious, but you're right. You are wearing that shirt from that era.
Did your dad always buy you a shirt hoping that you'll grow into it, but not realising that by the time you've grown into it, you've got a new shirt out?
No, I bought this from the West Ham shop in the retro news section that they decided to put in there.
So, see, they finally caught up to us with that idea.
Yes.
See, they were supposed to be 40 quid, but I would have never paid 40 quid for it. So I got a £20 gift card for Christmas. So it only cost me 20 quid. Hey!
And that was £10 too much. Terry, good evening. How are you? At least Jake is young enough to live and see West Ham have another good season sometime. Very true. Scott, 4-4. Good evening, Scott. 4-4-2 formation. KDH Chowdhury in midfield. Madison and Daka up front. Now, I didn't know this. Brad, have West Ham been linked with Daka?
I mean, they can probably afford a picture of him.
Yeah. Probably afford his studs, probably, you know.
Yeah. And I if they've been linked with him, then they ain't getting him. Do you play a lot of FIFA? That you might sign him that way.
I don't.
No,
because we were linked with him. I've not got no idea why I'm holding the pen, but I am now. We were linked with him the summer and the summer before. Yeah. We were linked with him the summer and the summer before you signed him, so we were kind of in the race as well. We're not linked with him now.
I mean, it's just every player that we seem to want, you seem to sort of think, oh, Leicester after him, we'll go for him as well.
Oh yeah.
That's a good point. Do you remember that debacle where one season West Ham were after him, Leicester after him, then we were both after him. I think it was like William Carvalho or whatever his name was. He was a sporting player.
I can't remember. No. We get to be honest with you, the papers link us with everybody in and everybody out.
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
we don't need Koki at our club.
I know at some point we'll be shaking it all about. But just to bring some, so we are playing. It is a 4:30 kickoff on Sunday. It's on Sky, and it is at the King Power. And Scott says, "Have West Ham got £100 million to pay? Then probably not. Have a word with Mr. Gold. Gold by nature, but bronze by
more like
spending."
Sullivan, Chris. More like Sullivan. Gold just sits back and puts his money on the table.
I've got to bring it up, Brad. Let's get it out of the way. Last time we met, 4-1.
Yeah, I will say the most successful thing about that whole entire performance was the red card.
Oh, you know Perez, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, actually, if I put something up, look, it covers Jacob.
Oh yeah, keep Terry. Hold on, Terry. Welcome to the show, mate. How you doing?
Yes, nice one. West Ham retro shirts are last year's Villa. But it was a red card for Perez, and it did do us a favour. I mean, we did try and contest it, but they wouldn't ban him for any more games than the 2 that it should have been done. But
no, in fact, you can tell we play better with 10 men instead of Perez because we actually scored afterwards.
Well, exactly. There you go. I'll put Jake up the top there.
On top of the world, Chris. On top of the world.
For me, I think going into that, I underestimated West Ham. I mean, I think it was about our 3rd game of the season, and you'd had a good season the season before, Jake. And I just thought, well, you'd be back down having another, your usual relegation battle. But no, you absolutely took us to the cleaners.
Wow. You came on my preview show and said it was going to be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here we go again.
And it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 to West Ham. What a miracle, Chris.
You know what you said of only having one joke, mate?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest with you, Brad, that day, I don't think we realised that was going to kind of sum our season up. And I went into it, like I say, and I'll take my hat off here. I totally underestimated West Ham, like I've just said. But I think that cardboard cutout of Antonio could have scored if they'd brought him on the pitch.
I think it did at some point. I mean, we have to remember as well, when they got Lingard on loan and he suddenly realised he actually had an ability to be like prime Ronaldinho in the middle of the park, scoring goals for fun. I think everybody questioned why West Ham weren't throwing the kitchen sink at Manchester United to try and get a deal in for him. And now we're looking at it and looking at the debacle of the January window, we're probably realising that whilst he put himself in the shop window, there's clearly a reason West Ham didn't go full out to get him. They probably felt that, if anything, Lingard was reaping the benefits of a well-rounded West Ham side. And, we probably tend to swap records. I think if you look back over recent history, we tend to do a number on you at West Ham, and you tend to come to the King Power and beat us. It's usually a strange time, more time than not. So the result was probably a less of a shock, and we probably let it slide because of the red card, being down to 10 men and 2 late goals killed us off. But it was a starting sign for both teams, unfortunately, how their season's going to go. We've been extremely indifferent, and West Ham are only just starting to do the Leicester moves and slow down a bit, because you had a cracking start to the season, and it's why you are where you are currently in the league.
I mean, you're having a great time in the Europa League. I mean, you guys admitted that, when the draw was made, you had as we did last season, you couldn't have picked a better group yourself. I don't think it was a nice group, but well done on getting out of it. Would you agree with what Brad was saying about Jesse Lingard there? And are you disappointed you've not got him back this season?
To the best of our understanding, from what we are told in the West Ham fan base, is the fact is that the deal not being done in January was nothing to do with West Ham. It was to do with Manchester United not wanting to let him go to top 4 rival, which is still funny to this day that apparently we're a top 4 rival to Manchester United. He wanted to go, Jesse Lingard. He wanted to go, Jesse Lingard. He wanted out of the prison. His brother, his agent, referred to that, and he wanted to leave West Ham. He didn't want to go to Newcastle. He wanted to come to West Ham, but they didn't let him go. We now expect him to run his contract out and then come to West Ham in the summer. But of course, that's not certain until the pre-contract agreement gets done in June. But we'd expect him to run his contract out at Man United now, not sign a new deal. He's done 20 years of service at Man United, and for him to come to West Ham in the summer.
Is it 20 years he's been at Man United? Good God, you know.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Since he was 8, he's at United, and he's now 28.
Wow. God, I really do feel old now. A question for you, Jake, here. Terry says, he loved as a kid them tubes of bubbles you can blow. The cameras never show which fans are on that duty every home match. Have you ever tried to get on that duty, Jack?
Jack?
Jake, sorry.
Oh yes, yeah. No, because we got the fancy Nancy machines now. Where someone goes down and presses it, and the bubbles all come out of a machine.
You see, they
But
can't.
they're working on the executive budget at West Ham.
I know. Whatever happened to child labour? That's what I say. Bring it back. Bring it back.
When they used to make them do it all for free.
Yeah, this surprised me, Brad. I'm not going to lie. The head-to-head that we played 29 times. We've only won 9, and West Ham have beaten us 14 times. That did. Yeah, like I said at the start, West Ham fans can't dance.
It's like Chelsea fans singing Chelsea all the way through the game. It's pretty crap and it's pretty basic. All you can do is wave an arm around. You'd be good in America, mate, doing them fluffy inflatables, wouldn't you?
If you need a toilet break, Jake, just go off camera. You don't have to put your hand up and ask for one. Anyway, Brad, sorry. 14 times they beat us. I find that really hard to believe, actually.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they were kind of like a coup for us in and around the 90s. Again, play face to my era of the football, and they had the likes of the Lampards, the Canyos, the One Chops. They were quite a very impressive team to beat.
Yeah.
Remember back then, you also had the Chelseas down at your top half of the table, but not quite pushing the top 4 or 5 clubs. But they were there and about, some impressive players. And there were probably teams that we kind of felt were a coup if we got some points off them or a win off them. So, we've probably spent the last few years as well exchanging it. So, we've probably got the edge more in recent times. But back in the 90s, it was probably 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 was a win for Leicester. And we, like I said, we were seeing them as a big result, a big win for us, because they were back then, and they were. Now more so the numbers are slowly catching up because Leicester are getting the edge on West Ham, but they're still a few wins ahead. I mean, we'll have 10 wins after Sunday. Don't worry about it.
Oh, indeed we will. I mean, looking at that, Jake, I mean, you obviously do better at home than away. I think probably a lot of those are probably at the old ground. But you must obviously, and we'll look at form at the moment in a minute. But look, you've got to be confident, haven't you?
Oh yeah, well, it's a chance to make it 8-2 on aggregate, isn't it? For this season. But I mean, we beat you 14 times. That's how old I am. You beat us 9 times. That's how old I was 5 years ago. So there we go.
Hey, it's scary, that, isn't it? It's scary how that all fits in together, eh?
Yeah.
Honestly, keep this up. You won't see your 15th, I'll tell you. Right, have a look at form going into this. We'll come to Leicester first, and obviously Brad. I mean, 1 win in 5. That was against Liverpool, but one of the losses was against Liverpool. I mean, did we see an upturn from Leicester? Or did we see enough from Leicester against Liverpool?
I mean, we did in a way, and I obviously touched upon that yesterday. I did say, whilst it was an approach that I expected them to take, I was more wanting approach number B. But on the basis of things now, after really being able to think about it a bit more, it probably was the case that Brendan decided we'll take approach A. So even if we lose and we make a good account of ourselves, we'll gain natural confidence that way from probably frustrating Liverpool. I mean, they didn't actually, even though we didn't do anything miraculously going forward in that game, we did keep ourselves in the game until about the 88th minute, regardless of the chances they had. They didn't hit the back of the net. And then, they didn't seal the game off and kill us off until very late on. Now, we know what the atmosphere is going to like. And I'm sorry.
Slightly.
Yeah. We know how the crowd are going to be. They're going to be up for it because the crowd gave a positive response on social media to it. And I'm sorry, Jake, but I'm expecting to hear a lot of boos when David Moyes reads the team, when the team sheet's read out and David Moyes has Zuma read at the back, because personally, I think he needs to be taken out the limelight for the incident that happened. I don't agree with all this, cancel his contract thing. You've got to handle the situation right and deplorable. I think you need to take someone like that out of the limelight because he obviously regrets his actions and obviously doesn't mistake the fact he shouldn't have done it. But I don't think you need to throw him into a cauldron on Sunday. I think in a way, and it's not maybe politically correct, but I think maybe less. I think the likes of Daka and whoever else will be told to maybe put pressure on Zuma when he's on the ball, because if he starts to hear the crowd getting on his back and really giving him, some booze, shall I say? I won't say anything too far because I hope they don't take it too far. But he may make a mistake, and Leicester will look to capitalise on that. Call it gamesmanship if you will, but it's going to be an interesting game. I know that much. I'm looking forward to it. I think we come into it with a surprise because, it sounded like the lads feel a lot better after the humiliation of last Sunday performance.
I think the thing is, and I'll come on to Jake about that in a second, is the fact that the first game after that debacle, and like I say, if we'd lost 4-1 to Man City, it was one of those things, but it was the fact that it was Forest, etc., and the way that we played. This is the home game, and like you say, I've been saying on social media, Jake, and not wanting to sort of dwell on it too long, but your fans weren't happy that Zuma was playing. Was it against Watford? Yeah. And that was at home. This one's away, so it might not be as bad for him. But I don't know. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, there's different levels of what people are pleased with. There's a certain player at a Northwest club that has probably done a lot worse. But would you be happy to see him in the team?
This is really difficult because the way I look at it, when I saw it first, I'm a cat. I'm a cat fan. I like cats, and I saw it and my heart sank. If I'm being completely honest with you, I thought.
I must admit, I haven't even seen it, to be honest with you.
Well, just don't watch
it.
Don't,
honestly, mate. It's one of them things. I think me and Jake are both going to agree. We wish we hadn't seen it.
The way it will be handled. He started against Watford, and the uproar from Twitter and all of the other places when he was in the lineup. I think before the game we all thought that he wouldn't play. We all thought that would be obvious, but obviously not. He started him. Now at the start I was angry. I saw David Moyes comment saying the incident is being dealt with. I deal with the football side of things. He's one of our better players. He starts a football match. Which I can understand why he did that, and he had some balls to do that. I tell you, because he's had some criticism for starting him, and even tonight, a week after the whole scandal, ITV News is still starts talking about it. So it's it's a slow news day when a week after they're talking about a footballer on there. But he got a tasty reception from the Watford fans, which he dealt with. He played well, and if you start Daka, I'm sure of this, Brendan Rodgers will tell Daka to go straight on to Craig Dawson, because Craig Dawson's got not an inch of pace in him. And I believe Zuma's a professional. As much as what his actions haven't been professional, he's professional on that football pitch. He's a very good player. He knows how to deal with these type of things, and he showed that against Watford.
West Ham United here. I think that's Andy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chris and Brad, do you think the media are overreacting to Zuma? I mean, to be totally honest with you, I think the media overreacts to most things. It's anything they can do. If it's the Premier League star, as far as the newspapers are concerned, you're hung, drawn, and quartered before the ink's dry on the page. That said, we've all got different standards. We all have different things. I mean, like I say, the other incident involving a football player recently, for me, no, keep on, hitting that in there and making sure. But it is difficult, and like Jake said, it is a non-footballing matter, so the club should deal with it. And
but I also think there's a responsibility of David Moyes to maybe and look, he got away with it. I don't want to say he got away with it. Obviously, like you said, he's a professional and he handled it well. But I just think there's also a responsibility on David Moyes to read the room, as the expression is, to read the situation and go, okay, we played Watford and you was at home, weren't you? I believe, yeah. At home. So even though Watford were going to give him stick, and there was probably a fair percentage of your fans not wanting to insult him because he's a West Ham player, but weren't exactly giving him a raucous cheer when he did things too well because they remember what he did literally a couple of days ago. I think there's a tension of care around the situation, and you've got to look at it as a basis. And for me, if I'm in that situation as a manager personally, and I'll take a player that's very beloved at Leicester, say it was Yuri Tillemans or Jamie Vardy or Kasper Schmeichel, that were in a similar situation, I would contemplate every side of things. I don't think it's wise to first of all, the media, they make a mountain out of a molehill, no matter how serious or lenient it is. I understand that they've got to, broadcast these things, but it's the media. But I think you look at that player and think, if he goes out there and Leicester are fired up for this, we know what's just happened to them. We know they're desperate for a response. We know they're going to be going at it. And look, whether it's acceptable or not, in some forms, unfortunately, whether it's too far or not, I hope they don't again. There is going to be hostile attitude towards every touch that Zuma has. And no matter how professional you are, right, fine him.
I'm going to move on, Brad. Otherwise, we're going to. Sorry, Brad. I'm going to move on because I don't want to.
The sense of care should be to maybe take him out that limelight as well to kind of manage the situation as a whole.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but let's not, I mean, the guy doesn't deserve any publicity or even us to talk about him. But going back to your run in there, Jake, I mean, you beat Palace. That was close, though, 3-2. Norwich, Leeds. What happened at Leeds? I mean, on paper, that should have been an easy game.
Well, we were there. That was.
I think I actually saw your blog from the match. You were going through the emotions, weren't you?
That was a bad day at the office, and we deserved to lose that football match. Crystal Palace, we just about managed to scrape through in the end. We deserved to win, but it was a few nervy moments towards the end. Once we took the mick out of them, going when we were 3-0 up, they brought 2 goals back and made it a bit nervy. Norwich, we managed to get through there. We winged our way through that. Man United, the less I talk about that, the better. Watford, in the end, we managed to get through it. But just before we move on from that, what you will hear from West Ham fans tomorrow, you won't hear booing. You'll hear them going zoo for Zuma, and you'll hear them singing, "He kicks what he wants. He kicks what he wants. Kurt Zuma, he kicks what he wants." But anyway,
well, like I say, moving on. I mean, you in better form, definitely in better form going into this, and Leicester haven't sort of been in brilliant form. And I always think it's strange because as we look at the table at the moment, it's very strange to look at the table because it's so disjointed. You've played more games than those around you, but you are sat in 4th there at the moment. You lucky buggers. And
on, Chris.
We are down there in 12th, and I'm just trying to actually, I'm trying to just get it so I can see it, and I can't at the moment. But let's just have a look. I mean, we're on. Can you see what points we're on there?
26.
26 points. So, I mean, but we've got a few games in hand, so it isn't all sort of over for us. But you sat up there in fourth. You've got Europe starting again next week in the Europa League. Although, are you playing next week because you were top, so you went through, didn't you?
Yeah. The next Europa League action is the cup draw on the 25th of February. So we've got that to the side.
That will help you, in fact, won't it, in that top four? Because I mean, I think Champions League and what have you is back. You're going to have that bit of a break. Can you maintain it? Can you still be up there come the end of the season?
I don't believe so. I think we will drop down. I think we'll drop down back into the Europa League places again, if I'm being honest with you. We've played 24 games, which is the equal most of how many games anybody has played in the Premier League. We've got 24 games, 40 points on the board, so we're officially safe in the Premier League. Few, I never see.
That's true. That's true.
We are safe. We were, as much as I'd like us to stay in that top four, we won't be there for long because we've played Arsenal twice and they've still got 2 games in hand on us, only 1 point there. We've played Man United twice. They've got 1 game in hand on us with 1 point there. Spurs, we've got to play them again. There's still 3 games left there. And Wolves needed the win last night against Arsenal if they had any hopes of just trying to unsettle the pack. Excuse the pun, but
I can see where you get your sarcasm from. Your dad is. Scroll down, Chris. You will find Leicester.
Honestly, you have gone down like that though. It's not till this week. It's blimmin' hell.
We are 3 points behind you. 3 games behind you. If we win all 3, we're only going to be 5 points behind you at that point.
Yeah,
it is a big ask, Brad, isn't it, to win all 3 games in hand?
Chris, win all 3.
A big ass. If you're literally taking it off current results, mate, I don't see where the next 3 wins come from. To be honest, with you.
Exactly.
I'm hoping this is like one of them journeys that does kick on from West Ham, and we start with a win there. But right now, games in hand are irrelevant as they've ever been to me, mate, because I don't see us getting 3 points from 3 games, let alone 3 wins.
No. Now, but before we came live here, we were talking earlier in the day on text and Twitter, and I asked you both to sort of come up with a one to watch from the other side. And the funny thing is, Jake actually gave us a one to watch for West Ham as well. And he actually
was I not supposed to do that? Oh.
No, but don't worry. Maybe it was the way I worded it, or maybe you just don't understand English.
Cheeky, isn't he? He's cheeky.
Cheap shot, but
just for it. Let's just see whether it was me in the wrong. Let me read out the message that I got sent. Right.
No, let's not. Let's just move on.
No.
Let's just move on here.
Now, so I'm reading the message. So Chris put, "Hi Jay, we have a segment on the show called One to Watch. We pick a West Ham player. Could you choose a Leicester player?" Yeah, fair enough.
Chris, you can remember this quiz.
In my defence. I read it quickly because I had to go somewhere off school stress. Because that was 3:48. I sent that, and you said we pick a West Ham. I thought it said.
Oh God, can you smell that, Brad?
Oh dear.
There's a lot of BS around, isn't there? But as it happens, you both picked the same West Ham player, and that was Mr. Jared Bowen. So, Brad, tell us why you went for this gentleman.
I've been impressed with him. Look, a lot of probably neutral fans and probably West Ham fans, if you was to really ask them who's their firepower up front, it probably still is overall, but it's Mikel Antonio, isn't it? But this guy probably came with a bit more expectation. Somebody had to carry the weight, because what we've seen with West Ham is when they lose that attacking prowess in Antonio, they seem to drop off. I think over the last few seasons, it's definitely shown that in their effects, where they went on a staggering bad form when he was out for an extended period of time over the last couple of seasons. And he's really come into his own. He's really become that driving force. It's almost like the more he seems to play and the better he seems to get. And West Ham fans are almost not dismissive of it, but they're also probably just as confident if Antonio's not fit, if Jared plays. But he's done really well. He's one that's getting talked about, probably doesn't Jake probably doesn't like the idea, but there is already starts of the press linking him here, there, and everywhere in dribs and drabs. But from a West Ham point of view, they've been screaming out for a backup. Backup's probably the wrong term of words, but just as reliable source of goal scoring prowess as they get from Antonio. So, yeah, he's the one to watch for me. I think he's just a continued threat. He does seem to work hard on the pitch every time he plays as well.
I'm a bit worried because every time I did this with Craig, everybody he picked always went and scored against us. So I'm hoping you're going to break the cycle.
Well, last time I did it, I said Edouard, didn't I, for Crystal Palace for different reasons, saying he was going to have a shocker. And look what happened. He didn't score. He was awful.
Well, that's why I'm fingers crossed. So, Jake,
yeah.
When you finally understood what I was getting at, you actually no, just the one you had to pick. One job, Jake, one job. This was who you went for on the Leicester player that you said you should keep an eye on. What impresses you about Harvey Barnes?
Well, I've only actually watched 90 minutes and a little bit of Leicester all season, so I'd say it's the first.
Don't blame you. You're lucky.
To be fair, it's the first guy that actually came to mind, and the only games I watched was our game, and I watched the last 5 minutes of the Spurs game, which was utterly shambolic. So that's all I've watched from Leicester all season. I've just wrote a pen all season, and. When we've played you in the past, I've liked him, but I think if I recollect, you said on a show a couple of days ago that he was better off on the bench, so you probably don't like me for that.
Well, Brad, I mean, in fair, and thanks for your honesty about Liverpool, and did sweet FA,
mate. We didn't hear any of that.
You went boomf.
Yeah, you just
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now, mate.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Niall comes in and it all goes to pot. Oh, evening, Niall. How are you? No, I'm just saying Harvey Barnes. I mean, this season's not been a good season for him at all. And he was dropped for Liverpool. We brought him on and I'll be honest with you, he made no difference when he came on.
No, and unfortunately, that seems to be the one hurdle that Harvey Barnes doesn't seem to be able to get over. You know, ever since he went out on loan to West Brom and then we brought him back in at January because of how well he was doing. Every season, including that little 6 months there was glaring things that we said, oh, if he works on this, he'll get better. And then he seemed to be able to work on that. But then we'd find another flaw in him. So, like we heard, cutting in more was one of his issues. He used to predominantly go down that left and then he'd get taken out of a game, he'd get isolated. And then he started cutting in more, but then he couldn't finish his dinner, let alone score a goal. So then he
fool there.
Yeah. And then he spoke to Shearer and obviously got some advice elsewhere. And then he started scoring goals. And then this year, we said we wanted him not to be a bit one-dimensional and a bit predictable. And it's a point I've made about Harvey Barnes. He seems very predictable. He goes missing in games because teams figure out how to defend him and then he can't get the ball. And then we're forced over to the other side to do our attacking. There seems to be something predominantly wrong. Maybe it's a tactical thing. Maybe it's Harvey Barnes in general. But something seems to be that he can only work and improve on one thing per season. And it is starting to wear a bit thin with Leicester fans. I do worry for him because I do like him and do think he is a good talent.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think we should swiftly move on from that because you've maybe not all right. Fool.
Sorry.
Honestly, Chris, you could have done me some favours by saying, listen, this lad's been awful all season. Pick somebody different.
I didn't know who you were going to pick.
To be honest with you, you're probably right. You know what happens? We say this ourselves and he'll go and score past you.
Yes.
And then you feel like it's right.
And to be honest with you, Jake, you could have picked any outfield player and we could have said exactly the same thing. He's been bad this season. So don't. I mean, the BBC, I mean, this is a bit weird. The BBC website goes, would you start Tielemans or Barnes? I mean, they completely are in different positions. Tielemans didn't start Jake on against Liverpool. He was another one that came on with Barnes and made absolutely no difference whatsoever. But we do know what Tielemans can do when he, when he's on his game. If you see that team sheet at sort of 3:30 on Sunday, and there's no Tillemans in there, does that give you a bit of a bounce, a bit of a G up?
Yes, it does, because I think he's a very good player. He's proven that many a time, and I think Ndidi and Tielemans, in my opinion, are the only two that give Rice and Souček a run for their money on their day. In my opinion, as a midfield duo. Name me a better one, because I can't think of one. But he's a very good player. But am I right in saying he blows hot and cold at times as well?
This season, I think it's fair to say, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah, I think he's more probably correct throughout most of it. You remember his first season after he joined for us on loan, near the back end of the season, he seemed to be blowing smoke out of his rear end, and he seemed to take that tiredness last season into the Euros. He looked very lethargic when he was playing for Belgium, so maybe he does have a consistency with his stamina. Some players just don't dare performance, and we have noticed, if you probably look through it, that Yuri has sat out 2 or 3 games every so often. It just so happens that he's suddenly got 13, 14 months left on his contract. And because now we're going to have to sell him unless he signs a new deal, which is very, very unlikely, it's suddenly he's not interested in Leicester. If you actually look at it over the bigger picture, Jake's right. He not so much over the seasons as they progress, but he does have an occasion to blow hot and cold at times.
I'm just reminded, actually, of when we started at the beginning of the season. We did in reply to a Manchester United fan who was doing a top 6-11 for the Premier League, and it did slightly annoy me. I did a top 6-11 from the rest of the Premier League, not including those. And there was a bit of a battle about who we would include in midfield, whether it was Souček or Tielemans. And it was equal, and I had to make the decision. And I'll be honest with you, I went for Tielemans, but that wasn't.
Well, I am guessing it was Rice as the other defensive midfielder.
I can't remember, to be honest. I can't remember that. I told you.
I can't remember, but I'm sorry. I admire Souček, but still, when they're both at full pace, when they're both on their form, Tielemans still strolls it for me. He has to go in that midfield. But I would be inclined to agree with you on Rice. To be fair,
that was my point on Tielemans. I believe, if my memory serves me right. But like I say, I'm of that age where I can't remember what I had for breakfast, if I'm honest. Brad. Jamie Vardy, Ryan Bertrand, Castagna, Evans, Fofana still out injured. I mean,
but we've known that for weeks, mate. We've known a few of them for several weeks, so it shouldn't come as a shock.
No,
we've talked about certain acquisitions that we've added. That you look at our squad, and we've said it to many a lineup without them players, and it shouldn't really be bothering us. We should be able to put out a fairly strong enough side that can compete and beat most of the teams in the Premiership.
Yes.
With what we've got, to rotate in and put in for a steady period. I'm not. Them injuries don't concern me anymore. We've got players back, or where we need to do. The fact that Rodgers comes out and said the only biggest concern injury-wise he's got is Fofana will be back in training next week tells you a lot about the injuries. He's not too concerned about Evans and Vardy being out because there's nothing he can do about them.
No. Well, a bit later on when we let Brad go, we'll probably let Jake go. We'll probably have a look at who we might pick, although it is a case of going like that, seeing who's available. Jake, David Moyes says Kurt Zouma is available to face Leicester, and only is it Masuka and Ogbonna remain absent because of injuries. And I've probably pronounced both of those wrong.
Who's the first one you said?
Arthur Masuka.
Arthur Masuaku.
Yeah, it's easy for you to say.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the two. I think, Masuaku's no loss. Ogbonna, of course, is a loss. It'll be Dawson next to Zouma, which I'd expect if Brendan Rodgers still has half a brain cell and football knowledge left in him, he will stick Daka straight onto Dawson, because it will be a fun afternoon for Mr. Patson Daka.
It will. And the problem is, we can all probably see that, but can Brendan? And that is the big worry. Talking of Daka, a few did you knows here, but Patson Daka could become only the 7th player in Premier League history to score in his first 4 home starts. Now, Brad, you know, and I know that Brendan will be looking at that tonight thinking, yeah, I'll start Iheanacho.
Probably, mate.
Hey,
Probably.
come on, I'm not far off there, am I?
No, the tough thing is you're not. But you'd like to think, like Jake said, that Brendan might bang his head and he might activate an extra brain cell, and he might do this thing and go, "Oh yeah, last season I remember what happened. I played 2 strikers." But yeah, if not, it'll probably be the case. He'll start Adamola Lookman as a lone striker and sod them both off.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what, we love Lookman because he did the worst penalty in history to get us all 3 points against Fulham last year.
You know, remind me, Brad, we don't have Jake on again, okay?
No, it's all right. You'll forget because you'll think he's called Jack, so it's all right.
Oh, this is true, and my memory won't let me remind me of this. I'll forget this.
Don't forget you're on my show at 7 tomorrow morning, Chris. Don't forget that.
God, that's gonna be tough.
I'm watching with the quiz, mate.
I think I'm washing my hair. I think I'm washing my hair. You know, the 3 hairs that I've got left, I think I'm washing them tomorrow. Leicester manager Brendan Rodgers has lost each of his last 3 meetings with David Moyes in all competitions. The only managers he's lost 4 in a row against in his career: Sir Alex Ferguson 11-13 and Ancelotti in 14-20.
David Moyes by Sunday night.
Well, I was going to say on that, I can remember when David Moyes came in that the West Ham fans weren't too happy with him. You know, they didn't want him back. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised he went back the way he was treated, because he kept you up and then you dumped him. And that didn't work out very well, did it? But he's come back in. You've got to be happy with him now.
Yeah, it was difficult because we bought him in after we sacked Slav, and we thought, yeah, we'll just get him to the end of the season just to keep us up. He kept us up, and then we got a big flash, Manuel Pellegrini, that was the biggest flop since I don't know, I can't think of anything. So yeah, and then Manuel.
It's your last manager.
Yeah, Manuel Pellegrini came in, wasted 150 million quid, and we got out of it. Fabianski and Fornals are only 2 decent players. We got out of that 150 million pounds, and then we sacked Pellegrini, which was inevitable. Was it end of December 2019? And then we bring back David Moyes, and we thought, oh, really, he's here to the end of the season, and we're back to square one. He'll keep us up, and we're back to square one. But no, he's thrived. I think COVID did the team, the manager, everybody involved, the world of good, which is not nice, but it is what it is now. And I don't particularly like Andrei Yarmolenko, but he kept us up in that COVID year by scoring that goal against Chelsea. We all love scoring against Chelsea, but that pretty much kept us in the Premier League. And then the next season, we're going to go from finishing 16th to 6th.
Yeah.
Can't fault him. Well, you can fault him because he hasn't signed anybody.
Yeah, Brad, nor did we. And there was quite a lot of clubs that didn't actually sign anybody. But Brad, Pellegrini, I mean, that kind for me sums up, like with Ranieri, that certain managers do well at clubs where they've got the money to spend big. You know, the Chelseas, the Man Cities, those sort of things. You give them a club that is maybe struggling a little bit, as in fairness, all joking aside, West Ham were, and they can't do it. You know, Ranieri won the title with us, went to Fulham, who were struggling, couldn't keep them up, went to Watford struggling, we see what happened there. And I mean, I just think sometimes you do wonder when people go for these managers, don't you?
I mean, you do and you don't. It's clearly obvious when you work at pretty high caliber clubs and do have success with certain clubs in that division, you can understand why, especially given his age in terms of management and his experience, you maybe go, he's probably going to want a quick pay packet. We can get him in instead of having to buy someone out their contract. He was available. So you can understand why they took a chance on him. But unfortunately, when you're used to working with a high caliber of players, you're able to flex your arm a little bit more and try a few things, because these players are a lot more talented. And I can't, for lack of a better word, they are more talented than players that West Ham had, and same with Leicester. We're seeing it with Rodgers. He's trying to maybe overcomplicate things with a squad that's majority not as talented as some of the few individual class players that we do have, and it doesn't work. You know, you hear a lot of managers say there's certain things you can do, you can't do it at other clubs that you can do when you're managing a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Liverpool, Man City, etc., because you have to manage the overall ability of the squad and not one or two individual stars. And you know, on another day, maybe it's stubbornness as well. You get so used to being able to do that, and you expect the players to be able to adapt it. It was a disaster ready to happen.
I think it's you that says you can't polish a turd.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm not saying that West Ham players were turds. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being that awful. But you make an excellent point there. That it is the standard of players that are used to. I don't believe I'm going to read this one out because it's just going to make Jake even more big-headed than he already is. But West Ham United have won each of their last 3 Premier League games against Leicester, last winning more consecutively against the Foxes in the competition in their first 4 such meetings between 94 and 97. I don't know why I even bothered reading that one out. I should have
do you know what the worst thing is that fans actually dread without really saying it? Is they hate when they hear stats that all go in their favour just before they're about to play the team. Because what happens to them stats? You hear that West Ham haven't lost to us. You hear that West Ham are potentially David Moyes is going to be the first manager since Carlo Ancelotti to go 4 games in a row beating Rodgers. And what happens? You go home crying. So we'll wait till Sunday to see all these smug little comments come back and bite these West Ham fans on their asses. Instead of getting this rightly clipped when we get beat 4-0.
To be fair, though, Brad, you've just slagged off Chris for typing all that. That took him time to type all that up and find him and put, did you know, #2 and 3 at the
Type?
You think he typed? It's adorable. You think he can still type with his age?
I mean, you know, you don't type when you've got copy and paste, Jake. What?
It was voice commands. He's got a button. He presses it.
I mean, obviously, in that part of London, they're still using chalk and slate. Obviously,
I don't live in London, Chris. I don't live in London.
No, you don't actually. You don't actually. I think, unfortunately, I think you live a bit near me, which is a little bit worrying. I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah,
you know.
I live about 45 minutes away from you.
Yeah, so when you don't send him that £10 for coming on for PayPal, and then his gang of mates are going to come to your door, mate.
No, this is presuming Jake's got mates. Come on.
Oh, right.
Oh, no.
I mean, would you want to be mates? Would you want to be mates with a West Ham fan? Let's be honest with you.
I was allowed to go. I'll leave that there.
I mean, all I'll say is, Richard Cox, it's almost reportable to the NSPCC that you're making him wear clothes like that.
Oh, God.
I'll tell you what, fair play. Your insult list has gone from 1 to 3 in the last hour.
It'll go back down again. Don't worry.
It always finds its way back to the gutter with Chris. Don't worry about it.
You just wait till tomorrow night when it's on my turf and I've got control of the buttons, Chris.
Yes, I'm sure you'll get your own back. West Ham have. I'll move out before then. I say 45 minutes is a bit too close. You know, West Ham have scored in 90% of their Premier League matches against Leicester. I'm going to go, Brad. I'll try it again. 26 out of 29, the highest ratio against an opponent they've faced more than 10 times in the competition.
What's ratio mean, Chris?
What does what say? The highest ratio.
Yeah. What's that mean?
Basically, you've won more against us than any other team.
Oh, right. So you do know what you're control V-ing into your PowerPoint then?
Oh, dear.
So, Brad. I mean,
oh, wow, Chris. Now, Chris.
We can just hope.
You're so mean.
I know, but it's Jake. It's fun to do it to
Chris,
Jake.
Isn't it? Predictable Chris.
Basically, I'm going to end up with score predictions. I mean, I have actually gone 2-1 to Leicester, as I didn't get it right against everybody else in the mini league. Went for a Liverpool win and got some points. I obviously supporting my team, went for the draw and didn't get any. So I'm going for a 2-1 win to Leicester because with our defence we're going to concede. Steve Lynix went 1-0 to West Ham, but he does do the reverse psychology. Yeah, he'd never got it right. That's why he's done that. Jerry Taggart has gone for a 2-2 draw. Steve Walsh and Ian Marshall both agree with me at 2-1, and Ian Wilson has gone 2-2 as well. Come to you first, Jake. Do you see? Is it going to be another 4-1?
Well, it might be, but that's not what I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict a 5-1. No. 2-1 West Ham. Dad copies everything I say. 2-1 West Ham. The goals will come from the guy just here, Mamo Lanzini. If you can't see.
Well, what are you doing with Lanzini in your bedroom?
Shut up.
I don't think, let him out for the weekend.
Say that to his face, yeah. Say that to his face.
What are you doing in Jake's bedroom?
Well, he's silent. He's silent like his performance will be on Sunday.
Exactly. Yes, he's very two-dimensional, isn't he?
You wait till whoever Dave and Roger you've got in defence, because
it might be Dave and Roger at this point, mate. I tell you that much.
Well, Brad used to be a goalie, but he's actually they're trying to utilise him in defence.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can use that ability to defend on Sunday.
Yeah,
I've got the ball.
So you'll go for 2-1 the other way to West Ham then, obviously, Jake.
Yeah.
Brad?
Do you know what? For all the stick and all the hand rubbing together of excitement and anticipation, West Ham fans have gave it the large and everything. Would it be really embarrassing of them now to not be able to score from a set piece against a set piece, offerers? I think it'd be lovely if we managed to do something that we've barely done this season and get another clean sheet. And I'm going for Leicester 3, West Ham 0.
Sorry, did I hear that right?
I also predicted North Macedonia to go and get to the final of the Euros, mate. So don't.
All right.
I beat you to that, Chris. See, I beat you to that. I could sense it. You said I could sense it.
But you have stuck by Norwich, and that's coming good now. So yeah, you're not too bad. Although you did get 1 point in last week's prediction league, which was a little bit worrying.
I know. I just showed I'm a true Leicester fan because I'm bottling being top. I've been top all this time. And I'm bottling.
Scott's gone 3-2 to Leicester. Terry said he hasn't spun his coin yet, and Scott says, "Jake, will you be crying bubbles on Sunday?"
No, you'll be crying them stupid whacker things that you lot have. And Southampton, do you still have them? Them stupid things that you whack on your hand to blimmin'
the clappers, yeah. I think so.
Clappers is the word you're looking for. Yes, yeah. It's up there with the vuvuzela of football memorabilia.
Yeah,
it's up there.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's up there with.
Oh, I forget I'm talking to a child in nappies. Ask your
South
dad.
Africa World Cup 2010.
Ask your dad about the vuvuzela.
I know you were probably only 2 then, weren't you? So you wouldn't remember it, but it's a World Cup thing, mate. It was used inside the 2010 World Cup.
I see. Where's Chris gone? Has he gone too?
Oh, he does it all the time. No, I told you, mate. It's his old age. He wanders off sometimes after doing some stuff. The rest of us hold this together for him. He just wanders off. Look, here he comes. This isn't a vuvuzela.
Oh, he's actually not honest. I'll tell you what, they really get on my nerves. Honestly,
good.
Nearly as bad.
How much do you get on your nerves?
You wait till I got control tomorrow, Chris, with these blooming buttons.
I used to have a vuvuzela. Let's not knock it.
No, it wasn't a vuvuzela, mate. It was his hearing aid. He used to hold him like that.
This is very true. How did you know?
Wow. See, I know these things.
Come on, Chris. EastEnders started 5 minutes ago.
Terry says, last question here for you. Well, it's not. We know really it's your bedtime. Don't you try and pretend it's not. But who? West Ham song "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." Who started that?
You see that?
Yeah, I can't see that with my eyes. Come on.
That's a plaque. know that much, but reading them words, it looks like hieroglyphics, mate. I'll be honest with you. You'd have to read that out for us because that's not that.
I'm from
Yes.
Burn Bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so I know, reach the sky. And like my dreams, they fail and die. Fortune's always hiding. I've looked everywhere. I'm forever Burn Bubbles, pretty bubbles.
I thought Jake showed that because he couldn't read.
Oh dear.
That's what it is.
Jake,
Jake,
it's going to be 2, isn't it? 2-1, Chris. 2-1.
Jake, Richard, you gotta sort him out, mate. He's wild. He's on the loose.
Yeah.
You need to rein him in.
Stop letting him drink.
Chris.
Stop letting him sneak Red Bulls upstairs to drink them before bedtime. He's bounced off the walls in there. Come on. Come on.
He is. Right, Jake, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
That's all right.
And get your own work done before Monday.
Now I get my own work done, just like Chris does. Chris gets his own work done.
His old copy and paste.
Control V, Control C, Control V, bing bang bosh, let's go.
You see again. You
yeah.
Control V. Just go on to copy. None of that Control V rubbish. You know.
Well, that's quicker and easier.
Right click, left click. It's easier.
To be honest with you, I've got a job. I'm starting a job on Monday. I'm actually helping out a typist. I'm only helping her with capital letters, though. It's shift work.
Oh, for God's sake. See what I have to put up with, Jake?
What's that?
It was Chris's. Chris just sat down. That's the noise it makes when he sits down.
I don't know what you bother, Brad. To be honest with you, I don't know what you bother.
Oh no, it's hard work, mate. The worst thing is, worst thing is I'm doing this for free.
Well, now
people want to pay me to come on here, Brad. You are so lucky. You know. Thanks very much, Jake. I will see you tomorrow at 7.
Don't forget.
I know. You might have to send me a reminder.
Yeah. Just send an email to his nurse that looks after him.
Yeah, please do. Good luck for the rest of the season. I really, apart from Sunday, I hope you do really, really well and have a good season and you break into that top 6 and stay there. And good luck in the Europa League, mate.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Brad, condolences go to you because you got to sit here every week for an hour with Chris. So
I know it's more than an hour sometimes. Sometimes if he gets what he's talking about, it's even worse.
Right.
I brought you on here to defend me. Get to bed, you. Get to bed. It's past your bedtime.
Tomorrow, yeah.
See you tomorrow. And Jake, before you go, how can people find you? Your details are in the description. Your details are in the description, but give it a shout out.
Yeah. You can find me on West Ham Unofficial on YouTube. We don't do 10-minute intros over there, so you can find us at
Should there be more interesting than the show?
West, you can tell Chris got nothing to do, can't you? Please subscribe to Leicester Till I Die TV. You can find us here on Leicester Till I Die TV.
He loves it, really. He's just self-advertising there, Chris, you see.
I know. Yeah, he's advertised our channel, not his own.
You can find us on Spotify, on Leicester Till I Die TV, and on all major podcast platforms. Leicester Till I Die TV.
I tell you what, he mocks it, but
now the upstairs.
Now the upstairs video's coming. You froze them, Brad.
Oh, did I? Great. Thank God for that. That was great timing of that, weren't it?
Great timing. Well, catch you later, lads.
I tell you what, I was going to get you to record the thing for me, then I can use you as a jingle. Take care, Jake. All the best, mate. Thanks for coming on. I'll see you tomorrow night at 7. That sounds. He's obviously an EastEnders fan. He's rushing off, for EastEnders. Very, very quickly, I'm not going to go through the whole team, but changes for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or even I might be 11, even for Sunday.
Yeah, I think there'll be a few changes. In fact, I did actually write an 11 up for you. If you've done it, then we can certainly. Let me just bring it up. I've gone for my ideal 11. What I'd like to see go in a 4-4-2. If that helps with formation selection.
It will do. Win 1 second.
I am making a last-minute change because I've torn between 2 players to play there, but I feel for a reason I'm going to keep him on the bench and play him on that side, but nevertheless,
Right.
we move.
So your formation. I like a good 4-4-2.
Yeah, the good old Mike Bassett traditional 4-4-2.
Exactly. Yeah. No, we're going to get it right. 4-4-2. That's what it should be. I presume. I mean, I think it's a given. We're going to get Schmeichel in goal.
Yeah. Schmeichel would go in goal. I would then go with Luke Thomas as the left back.
So Luke Thomas, I agree. Yep.
I'm the only part of Brendan's words that I'm going to include it in here. It's Wilfred Ndidi at centre back. It's believed that Brendan seems to suggest that Wilfred Ndidi may have a prolonged centre back career, and I'm all for it, really.
To be honest with you, I can't put that one in because the BBC have him as a midfielder, but we'll know that one is.
Yeah, the blank spot is Wilfred Ndidi. And we keep saying this every time we're surprised. We should probably get used to it by now. But his defensive partner would be Daniel Amati.
Yeah, he's to be honest with you, one of the few players that's really coming out with any credit at the moment this season.
Yeah. And funny enough, the guy who's only played 3 or 4 games of football probably comes out with another highlight for us this season. And on the right is JJ. And that you'll understand why when I tell you what I was thinking on the right side of the midfield for get me words right for the rest of the team. So yeah, JJ will play on the right.
Can you see? I don't know if you can see that, but the BBC haven't got JJ down as a defender.
Why? He's a left.
I know he's not there though, is he?
All right. Being as we build it, I tell you what, just put in Bertrand because we know Bertrand can't play. That's JJ, but for God's sake,
I'm sorry. It just goes against everything that I want to do to put Bertrand in there. So we'll leave it. We'll leave it for now. I think that's another blank spot.
Yeah, the BBC are trash.
They are, aren't they? I can tell you what we're going to do. We're not going to do that because. They obviously
do you want me to read them out? Do you want me to read them out, Ben?
I think that's going to be the best bet because the BBC just don't have any idea about our injury crisis. So we started with Casper. We had Thomas at the left.
Yeah.
Ndidi.
Yeah.
Amati.
And JJ on the right.
JJ. Yeah.
Now the reason I've gone for Amati is because I was originally going to put Ricardo Pereira as the right winger because he has played that role before.
Yeah. Well, I said that for Liverpool.
Yeah. However, given that Ricardo's had reoccurring lengthy injuries and the caution probably given around Ricardo, I feel if he's going to play, it'll be as a substitute. And I don't know if that'll be swapping JJ around, taking Thomas off and putting him as a right back, or it'll be putting him on for the man who I have eventually decided to put there, which is Lootman. I've put Lootman as the right winger.
Okay.
I've got Harvey Barnes playing on the left because without Pereira starting, I want us to be free flowing and pacey going forward. I don't want a defensive reliable job that Mark Albrighton did as well as he played. So I have to get Harvey Barnes into this team for that reason. And this is where the shock comes into it. I've got James Maddison as the middle two, but I've got Kieran Dewsbury Hall as his partner, not Youri Tillemans.
To be honest with you, after the other night, I think you make a very good point there.
Yeah, and I just think that them two have more of an attacking prowess, and I feel like this insistency when we play Ndidi at the back to put someone like a Samore in front of him just makes too much of a cluster. So my front two, which God knows what they'll be if Brendan gets a choice of two. Like I said, Lootman might move from right wing to forward, but I have gone for Patson Daka taking the role of Vardy and Kelechi Iheanacho starring the role of a certain Shinji Okazaki because they play the exact same way both of them do. In fact, in the terms of Daka's got the pace and the running behind, and Kelechi would work well in that Operation False 9 role where he goes between the number 10 and second forward role. So yeah,
let's be honest with you. Let's be honest with you. It worked with him and Vardy, as we know last season.
You'd almost think after the form he had last season that Brendan would have looked at that and gone, that works. Maybe that's what I don't change. But hey, here we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, ideal world 4-4-2, and we've got some attacking prowess. But
Now, Scott says here, steady on Brad and Chris having KDH and Madison in centre midfield. Now, I'm going to go for my 11, which I do like 4-4-2, but, and you can probably see the way that this is going to go, I'm actually going to go 4-4-1-1.
Okay.
Which is basically a 4-4-2. Now, instead of Ndidi in the back four, and I totally see why you put him there, it makes sense. I would have Chowdhury in that role because he's done that before and he did very well. I would have Ndidi then in place of Madison. I wouldn't put Barnes in because he didn't do anything for him, but I'm going to try Lookman on the left.
Yeah, he's very versatile. He can do that.
I mean, that's his preferred position, to be honest with you, for me. Yeah. And on the right, I would put Ricardo. And I know there's sort of questions over his fitness, but he did play, he came on against Forest. And I think I've got to say, let's go. And he's attacking. He's good in that role. He can get a good thing. And I just think we should go and get the lead. Let's get the lead. And then if he can't play the full 90, let's swap him if it means bringing Lookman over. I want to try Lookman on the left. Yeah.
I looking at your team in comparison, I mean, Wilfred for me was purely went into. I would actually naturally prefer a natural centre back, and I know I've made the point before that he actually started his career as centre back, but he's probably played more games as a centre back for Leicester than he did throughout the entirety of his career before he joined us.
Yeah,
but I put him there more on the basis of what Roger said and what the issue is again with Solskjaer's confidence. You've made an interesting point, though. If you drop Barnes because
I had to eventually, didn't I?
I know, right? Once in a blue moon, a broken clock is right twice a day, and all that.
Yeah.
But if you do put Lookman on the left and keep the attacking prowess, you could give Pereira 65, 70 minutes, and then because we know he's going to do it because it's Rodgers, maybe have that defensive-minded player, i.e., Mark Albrighton, come on and replace him. I can see where that would work. I did actually try and fit him in with JJ on my starting side and keep them on both sides. So I'd be happy with both lineups, mate. I think they're both made very good.
And to be honest with you, the only other one I would do, and I know I've said about having two up front, but I'd have Inacho on the bench and I would have Madison just behind Daka. Madison can change it, he can change a match. And the problem is if we've got Inacho and Daka both on at the moment, if we need to make a change, we've got nobody on the bench. You could move Lookman up there, but I'd sooner have that as like say a backup, if you like, So,
but this is Brendan Rodgers. We could see Jakupovic in goals, Vestergaard in centre mid, and we could see Emileski playing on the left wing if he had his options.
Yeah, neither of us have gone for Perez.
I'm very certain, Scott. Don't you worry. He can be left back in the changing rooms, mate.
Indeed. Best place for him. I'm sorry. But, I mean, and this is the other thing as well. When you actually look at sort of Roger, and he was the first Rodgers signing, and that's the worrying
that was
thing.
a red flag, wasn't it, if you think about it now?
Yeah.
Flag.
Yes. But... Scott would be happy with either of our formations. I mean, it's just a case of tweaking. We've virtually got almost, the same, except maybe I've got let's say Madison slightly behind Daka, but it's just. Yeah.
And to be fair, with my 4-4-2, with how Kelechi Iheanacho plays, the only reason I put Madison in the centre mid is he can be the driving force that gives it early to Iheanacho, and he can then in turn feed Daka. It's essentially a 4-4-1-1 when you look at where they'll sit on the pitch, but the basis of starting it'd be a 4-4-2. So
but then here we fall into the trap of typical footy pans down the pub on a Friday night. 5 of us coming up with 5 different formations and 5 different sets of players. So it always happens.
And none of us get more than 6 players in the team.
At least I got 11.
That is true. Don't lie, mate. I did do 11 as well.
I had to write it down. I was writing it down.
I did write it down, but I have rubbed it off today. But yeah, at least this time we amended ourselves and made sure we had 11 players.
Yes. For those of you that haven't seen it, we both picked the team the other day. Unfortunately, I went the full way and I read my team out, and I hadn't realised I'd only put 10 in. Brad did for his, and he managed to correct himself. So he didn't look quite the idiot that I looked, but nobody slipped that. So thankfully.
I silently listened to Chris make his mistake and went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Chris is wrong. Here we go. I'll just put we all never happened.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Yeah. Brad, as always, thank you so much. It's been great fun. I am worried, I'm not going to lie. I think if we go behind tomorrow, I'm scared what the crowd's reaction is going to be. I'm not going to lie.
Well, see, the thing is, if you're going to the game tomorrow and you're still watching now and you're listening, my advice to you is, I know it's tough, I know it's difficult, and we've seen what's happened over the last few weeks. But if we do go behind, typically probably to a corner, it's cliche with Leicester's season.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing to do, and it might sound like it's not really your responsibility, but in a way, it's the responsibility of everyone in a work, in a group, in a team, in a business, and to pull together. So if we do find ourselves going behind early, do what we'd normally do: roar, let them know, come on, we believe in you. You can turn this around. Give them that response. Let's not go quiet. Let's not let West Ham sound like they're making more noise than 30,000. Let's let's really make that place a cauldron. And just quickly, I know it was a subject that we tried to dither off a bit, and I do apologise, Chris, for this. But keep your disdain, or whatever a better word for lack of it, towards Zuma respectable.
Yes.
I've got no problem with some gamenships and making your opinions known by booing somebody for what he did, because he's got to learn. Then his kids have lost that cat as well. Let's remember that. So he's punished enough as it is. Let's not have any incidents.
Let's just keep it to banter.
Exactly. Let's keep it clean. It's a nice.
You know what will happen? What happens when everybody winds up Jamie about Rebecca Vardy? He goes and scores against you. So let's just remember that.
And then takes out a corner flag.
Yeah, exactly. I will see you Sunday evening, sir, in place of one man and his dog post match. Let's hope. Let's hope we are talking about a win. I just hope so. But Brad,
the songs of praise will be from here, but it won't be hymns about me being Jesus. It'll be hymns about 3 points, hopefully.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. Brad, you're a gentleman, sir. Thank you so much. At Full-Time Focus, that is how you can find Brad on Twitter. Make sure you go and give him a follow, and he will retweet and do all the stuff that you would expect of him. So, and he obviously puts Leicester information up there as well. So, at Full-Time Focus on Twitter, do him a follow. And I'm going to be back at 9 o'clock on Dan's channel, trying to predict some scores. That'll be fun. Could be worse. It could be Brad. He only got 1 point this week. In fact, I need to put Steve's in. I tell you, I need to put Steve's predictions in. But thanks so much, mate. And I'll see you Sunday night.
I'll see you then, mate. Hopefully more cheerful than I have been for the last few post matches.
You and me both, mate. You and me both. Take care, mate. Stay safe. Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks to Brad there. Make sure you do get over Twitter. Like I say, at Full-Time Focus. The link, again, is in the description below. And if you haven't done yet, please do this.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
And as Scott says there, in fairness, I think the best thing that only fans can do towards Zuma is silence and concentrate on making more noise, singing for the Foxes. Definitely. We need to get behind the boys. I feel for them. It's going to be difficult, but then they put themselves in this position with that performance against Notts Forest. I don't think there was a lot mended against Liverpool. And I think the fact that we're coming out and saying, well, we're only 2-0, we didn't lose, didn't get stuffed. But did Liverpool really come out of first gear? second possibly. So maybe it's not that good. West Ham, we know what they can do to us. They did it to us at the start of the season. Get behind the boys. Give them the big up. You know, get your clappers out for the lads, as they say. I think that's what they say anyway. And after the match, if they've not performed, let your feelings know. But for while the ball is on the pitch, please get behind the team. Become that 12th man. As somebody a lot more drunk than me once said, let's be having you. Good night.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
The Leicester Till I Die shop is now open.
For all your Leicester Till I Die merchandise,
Visit the Leicester Till I Die shop at our website.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
That's all, folks.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.